Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to all of you that are just joining for the first time. I haven't seen you guys in a little while. I think it's been over a month now since I've seen you all, because if you've been following, my two younger sisters did a vlog last week. I was away for a little bit, so they were kind enough to do it on my behalf, and I pray that you were all blessed by that. And then the time before that, so a month ago, was a day in my life, and that vlog was a bit different from what we're used to, but we're back with a usual vlog, I guess, but it's kind of a update on things going on in my life. But I hope you guys will bear with me and that you will be blessed by what I have to share with you today.
It's how my story goes. It took a long time. Only God knows, but it's alright, but it's okay, because I'm here to encourage y'all anyway.
So, just as a disclaimer, I'm actually recording this later than I usually do in the week for you guys to see it, and later in the day also. So I do apologise in advance for noise in the background because of my family, but you know, it's not that easy to get everyone to be quiet at the same time, but that's fine. Is kind of a continuation of another vlog, where I don't know if you guys remember, I was talking about my decision with leaving my job, and that partly being down to getting headaches. So so after taking that time off work and coming off from headaches, because of the headaches, I actually got an appointment. So I kept being seen by the doctors, and they were like, oh, we don't really know what's happening, and all this and that. So kind of the usual stuff that goes with me and my health issues anyway. So I think I can't remember how many times I went back to the doctors, because I was like, yeah, my headache's not getting better, I still feel like I'm dizzy. I couldn't really like look up and look down, so you know, just normal head movements, I couldn't really do that, to be honest. I'm still struggling a bit with that. I think, like with all of my health issues, I kind of get used to it, and I think my body just adapts to it eventually. But even still doing like movements up, or looking down, and if I do it very quickly, my head starts to really hurt. So as I said, back and forth with the doctors, and eventually one of my doctors said, you know what, we might as well refer you to a neurologist. So that was what one doctor said. Then another doctor said, well, we heard that the doctor said that you need to see a neurologist, but we don't think it's that serious, so it might take a long while. And then even I think one of my requests wasn't even accepted, from my doctor to neurologist, it wasn't even accepted, because like, it's not really a rush thing, and because of the pandemic and everything, there are people that need it more. So that was another struggle in itself. And then I think, I can't remember when I actually got my referral letter, but basically I ended up getting a letter from the neurologist, saying that I had an appointment on the 6th of June. And I was like, okay, that's good, because finally I've got something. So I went along to my appointment, and then I was like describing all my symptoms, saying that if I move too quickly, if I look up, if I look down, to the point where my neck actually started hurting, because you know, you just naturally just put your head down. My neck was like this like the whole time, like just trying not to like move it too much because it'll start hurting. And then it was even getting to the point where even in my sleep it was starting to be difficult as well, like it would wake me up. So I was describing all of this to the neurologist, and then they kind of like, when he was examining me, we were doing all this different kind of head movements and stuff, and I felt dizzy, guys. I felt so dizzy, but I was like, okay, I know that he's trying to do something, and then some drop in movement and stuff. It was crazy, guys. But then he was like to me, he started like going back in my medical history and rewind backwards, guys. I'm like what I like to do a lot. In February this year, so February 2021, I believe it was February, I actually ended up with a chest infection, which is actually the reason why Natalie did a vlog for me in February, or maybe it was January, I can't remember, but that's why Natalie ended up doing one, because I ended up with a chest infection. And yeah, it was really bad, and I kind of after it kind of like the whole coughing and everything and physically feeling ill kind of calmed down, a month later I was still having like the breathing difficulties, and I was like, something's not right. So I did actually call my doctors, or they do some online triage thing. I actually did speak to them, but then basically what happened was that they didn't get back to me, and because they didn't get back to me, it ended up that it just kind of, I kind of just was like, it'll get better on its own. Then fast forward back to when I was with the neurologist, and the neurologist was like to me, so I saw that you had infection in like February time, and at first I thought he was talking about like the thing that I told you that started off my legs, and I was like, oh yeah, I did have a chest infection. And he said, well, basically what has happened, I said this is where the diagnosis comes in for my headaches. Basically what had happened is that when you have an infection, sometimes when it doesn't like you don't fully recover from it, it can affect the nerves in your neck. And basically mine, like always, I tell you guys, I seem to get everything. But my nerves were still a bit, I don't know how to describe it, but the way that he kind of described it, this is how I interpreted it. But my nerves kind of got a bit like lazy, and they're not working as efficiently as they should be. So it basically caused like tension in my neck, which then in turn caused the headaches. And because of the headaches and me not being able to bend down, and me just, as I said, like walking and bending down like that, and just bending down and still looking up, it kind of put more strain on my neck, which made the headaches worse. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. But then he was like, there's 2 types of physiotherapy that you have to go through, but there's special ones for your nerves or something. I don't even know. I can't remember, guys. I'm trying to explain this. I hope it makes sense. So I was kind of like, okay. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm happy that I get an answer. But I can now regrettably say that I still haven't received that appointment for physio. Hopefully I will receive it soon. But it sounds kind of negative and kind of sad, but I kind of don't get my hopes up for getting appointments very quickly. And it's even worse now because of the pandemic, which I understand. But I kind of just don't want to get my hopes up too much. But I'm trying to be hopeful. That it'll soon sort itself out. But the reason why I wanted to share this with you guys is because for me, like I said, when I first got this headache, I was just like, oh my gosh, again, something else is happening. I'm going through another health issue. Like, I haven't even sorted out the ones that I'm going through at the moment, and all this. And I was just like, it can get really disheartening, and I did feel really discouraged at this time. Then I started reading one of my favourite books. I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like I can resonate with the book of Job quite a bit. So one of my favourite books, as I said, and the verse is taken from Job 42 verse 2. And it says, I know that you can do everything, and that no purpose of yours can be withheld from you. And the reason why I chose this verse and I prayed on this verse is because it reminds us all that God can do everything. He can do anything. And when I thought of that, I was like, sometimes when we think of this, we're kind of like, yeah, but if God can do everything, why am I still sick? For example, in my case, or for you, that guys that may be watching, why am I still suffering with mental health problems or emotional problems, or this or that, loads of things going on. And sometimes it can be hard when you hear that. But then the second part of the verse, when it says, and that no purpose of yours can be withheld from you. And this is the bit that really like kind of got to me when I was thinking about it, and I was kind of thinking, God, not another thing, and not another health struggle. Because it reminded me that God has a purpose for everything, and hence like the name of this channel, like my painful purpose journey, because every health issue, every pain, every heartache, God has shown me a greater purpose for it. God has shown me a great blessing through it all, and whatever his purpose is, it's going to be done. And this headache kind of just added more to it. As I said, I feel like God, I don't know if I shared this with you guys, I cannot remember, but God, I felt was already telling me to leave the job, but I'm really, really stubborn. And he knows that I would have just stuck it out and kept going. But when I started to get the headaches, I had to give it up. And it's just like when my stomach pain started at university, I fully learned to depend on God. And then again, when I got sick in January of 2020 and my leg pain started happening, it helped me to be more dependent on God. And though the pain, I'm not taking away from it and saying that, oh, because I know God has a purpose for it, it means that it's not painful. But it has really taught me to be dependent on God. And I've been and experienced stuff with God only because I've allowed him to work in me and through this pain, and stuff that I couldn't even imagine doing with being in the amount of pain that I am in most of the time, and I have done. I'm like, wow, God, like amazing. You're just amazing. And the encouragement that I want to leave you guys with is that if you are going through something painful, if you're going through something hard, and it doesn't even have to be a physical pain like mine has been or mine is at this time, it can be emotional, it can be spiritual, it can be mental. God has a purpose in it. He has a purpose in the pain and the painful situations that you're going through. It doesn't mean that he doesn't care. The fact that this pain has not stopped, it doesn't mean that he doesn't care because it feels like he's not stepped in and just made it all go away. But in fact, the fact that he is working with you, he's molding you, he's strengthening you through this, just know that he does care. He cares more than we could ever imagine. And the fact that we are still standing, the fact that we are still here to complain about it, we just have to be thankful to God because he's the one that keeps upholding us. And just know that if God has a purpose, and he has a purpose for us all, that it will be fulfilled according to his plan and his will. And we know if it's according to his plan and his will, that it will be good. But guys, the hard bit that seems so easy but can be so hard for us is that we need to learn to trust God. Trust that he knows best, trust that he wants best for us. And it's something that I struggle with a lot of the time, if I'm just being completely honest. But I want to encourage you to keep trusting God, because whatever the purpose he has for your life, whatever the calling he has for your life, guess what? It's going to be fulfilled no matter what. But you just have to keep holding on and keep trusting. But I hope you guys have been encouraged and blessed by this short vlog. And yes, I will see you guys in the next 2 weeks by the grace of God. Bye.
And now this is my story.